All right, we are back. Now we're going to take a look at our frequencies and our bins. So what you've been reading about and hopefully trying a little bit on your own. I'm going to be using actually scores that are coming from your Salkind book, Chapter 4, pages 98 and 99, but also kind of walking through the steps that you see in that Excel quick guide. So sort of combining them. But we have those reading comprehension test scores. There were 50 of them that are listed in your book. So those are those exact same scores. And what I want to do first, and I just like to do this for myself, is I'm actually going to highlight my scores and I'm going to sort them because they talk about putting these, making sure that you determine your intervals correctly based on your highest and lowest scores in that range that exists. So I'm just going to sort smallest to largest over here. So I know I have my lowest score of a 2, yikes, and a high score of 47. So I know that my range is going to be probably 0 to 50. That's what I'm thinking. So I like to think of these in groups. That helps me in my process. So I'm actually going to split up these scores into class intervals or groups of 5. And again, I think the book mentions this. You need to start with those largest, highest scores at the top. So do not judge my typing. I will probably do it. I'll probably make some mistakes, but I'm going to make sure this is text so it doesn't act strangely on me. And then I'm going to start at 45 to 49. So obviously my highest score is not 49, but for that interval that I'm looking for, that's how I'm going to list it. And then I have 40 to 44, so again, by 5s. And I'm going to let you fill in the same thing here as I go down. All right, so these should be in groups of 5. Again, with the highest at the top, lowest at the bottom. But then I also want to actually create those bins. So I'm just going to put that in the next column here. And what I'm going to do for my bins is I'm going to take the highest number in each of these groups. And that's what I'm actually going to label the bin. So in this first group, it's 45 to 49. So this bin is going to be 49. The second one would be 44. 39, 34, and so on. Okay, so I have the same number of bins as I did for my groups where I separated those scores out into intervals. So then I'm going to be looking for my frequency. So this is where that Excel quick guide can help walk you through those steps. But you can also watch and follow along. Sometimes I think it helps to see a visual in front of you. So for frequency, I am going to highlight as many of these boxes as I have bins or groups. So I'm just going to go like this. And then I need to go to my formulas tab up at the top. And I'm going to insert function. You should see this little quick and easy thing right here. Click on that. And then over here, you are going to search for frequency. Obviously, I've been doing this, so frequency is up at the top of my list, but you could also search for it up here. So you'll have this. You'll click on it. And then you've got your data array and bins array, and you're going to need to articulate what data you want for each of these. So I like to click on this little box. You don't have to, you can just go here and highlight on the side, but this helps me from getting distracted and confused. So I click on the little blue box. So this is going to be for my data. So whatever those raw scores are, the raw data I have, and I'm going to highlight all of them. Like that. That throws it in. To go back to that screen, you click on this again. And you'll see that it has A4 through A53. That should include all of my raw data for the scores. And then for the bins, obviously that is going to be not my groups, but my bins. And I'm going to do the same thing for that. So I'm going to highlight, click again. Okay, so in order to include all of this information, because you have an array, what you need to do is Control Shift Enter. I will be honest, sometimes this doesn't happen for me the first time I do it. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So you just have to stick with it. If you only get one number listed under your frequency, you just need to go through that process again. So we'll give it a try. Aha, it did it. I always have to celebrate that. So what you can do then is look and see for my group of scores from 45 to 49, it looks like I should have one score that was between 45 and 49. And I know I had a 47 down here, but I didn't have anything else. So that shows you how many of those scores fell into that particular interval. And then you can do the same thing. You can check. So depending on what your intervals are, this should change. But really, you know, the overall general picture of what it should look like is going to be the same. I'll go ahead and show you how to do a histogram with these two, so you can sort of see the visual end of this as well. And your book talks about how to do this too. So for a histogram, what you're going to do is go into Data. So you will need your Data Analysis Tool Pack. You're going to click on Data Analysis, surprise, surprise. And then you've got a lot of options here, but histogram is what you're looking for. So you're going to press OK. And then you get to do a similar thing to what you were doing with your frequency when you were identifying the data and then the bends. So for your input range, this is going to be that same data from before, those raw scores. Click back. Your bin range, exactly the same. Make sure you get your bins and not your groups in your ranges. Okay, now you do want an output range. So this is just basically where you want to throw your histogram on the Excel spreadsheet. So I click here, and then I'm just going to, I want it up here, right up here at the top. So I'm just going to click that. Then you also want to make sure that you click on cumulative percentage. You should have read about that and saw that in your PowerPoint. And we also want a chart output. That just gives us a little bit more information. And we're going to press OK. And my computer's going to think. And we will see. Okay, I have no idea what that was, but it showed up. So we've got our different bins here. You will notice that for the bins, they are flip-flopped. So I have my 49, 44, 39 on the bottom here, and it's actually at the top over here. So if that looks a little strange, that's just what happened. And then I've got my frequencies. Again, they're flip-flopped. And then the cumulative percentage. What's nice is you can see that over here. So you can see where those scores sort of fell out of 50. All right, so that is the first problem that you have. If you in your homework want to do this exact same thing, take this same data that's in your book on pages 98 and 99, use that. If you want to try to play around with some other scores, maybe from your own classroom or some other data that's just dummy data that you made up, feel free to do that. But I would recommend trying to get in, list those raw scores, try to come up with those groups, create bins, and then try out the frequency. And if you're just feeling super excited to try a histogram, I would say go for that as well.